What's going on? What's going on? It is your boy Smooth Blaze, and I would like to re-welcome you to the Blueprint, aligning the spirit to conquer the natural, Session 1, Part 3. Now, before we get into today's topic, let's recap on some things that happened in the past. But first, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Also, hit that notification bell and select all so you would not miss one video. Now, last week, what we discussed was what happens when you are too spiritual, when you allow the supernatural to take over to the point where you lose touch with your natural. However, for this week, the question that came upon me was, what happens when you are too worldly? Too worldly. One example would be being more concerned with public opinion versus how God feels about you. So we have to always keep in mind that how we feel or how others feel about us don't define us. What matters the most is what God thinks. Example 2, cooking a meal but don't have enough seasoning, meaning you're so adamant about measuring things just to make sure it's precise that sometimes you may have too much meat and you may need to add more than what has already been required. That's another situation. Example 4, a $1 million CEO mistreating and lowballing its employees. You've been given an opportunity to become a major owner of a company. Profits, respect, credibility. But disrespecting your employees is one of the worst things that you can do. That don't make sense. And example 4, focus on your personal achievements and accolades versus dealing with God. Meaning, your focus all on the things that you've accomplished and all the accolades you receive, that you forget that God was the one that put these intangibles within you to get things done. So after reviewing all of these examples, one word that comes to mind is emptiness. And after I did a little research trying to figure out what best definition I can come up for emptiness, I read this: not having a clear or not having clarity on the type of person who you are or the one you are becoming. You have to get to the point in your life where you understand who you are and where you're trying to go, so you can understand where your place is in this world. But there's an emptiness because you're lacking the connection with God. So that's a feeling that you never want to feel, because no matter how well or how much you've done, it still won't be sufficient enough for you. But I just want to give y'all a little scoop, some simple tactics that I use to keep myself in check so that I can avoid being too worldly. You can use it as an example. You can write them down. It's up to you. You do what you think is best. Number 1, understand that God is in control. Meaning, no matter what's going on, no matter how good you are, no matter how much you're struggling, God is giving you the ability to continue to push forward through the section or through the life, or have put you at halt for a certain reason. So don't think that you're doing all this because of how good you are. Just know that He's in control of everything. Number 2, God has given us special gifts at birth, meaning when we were molded and shaped in our mother's womb, God already threw into things or gave us special talents in order for us to be able to grow and let them blossom in the future. So always remember, you just didn't get this just because. Somebody gave this to you and they knew who you was going to be before you even grew up or you even were even thought of. So always keep in mind that God has you at all times. Number 3, learning the difference between confidence and arrogance. It's always good to be confident in yourself because that's half the battle. You allow yourself to, when you're confident, to know the information, be able to analyze it, articulate, and do all these things, and it's a beautiful thing. However, arrogance is the idea that you know everything, can't nobody tell you nothing, and what you say is what it is, no matter how another person feel. To a certain extent, as far as how you feel and what it is, it's fine, but don't get to the point where you feel as if your opinion is the only one that matters. So confidence is more important than having arrogance. All right. Number 4, don't allow the world to define you. Only God's opinion matters. Meaning, people will look at what you used to do or what you used to be, or look at currently where you at and define you based on your position, your status, and how you carry yourself. So they have their own opinions towards you, but don't let that define your character. God's opinion matters above all, because at the end of the day, He's the one that gave you your body, your mind, and your spirit. Number 5, make sure you use your power, influence, and finances to help someone. We've all been in a situation where we needed help, and there have been people that came through for us, and there's been people that just said, you figure it out. So it's a better thing to be in a situation where you're not thinking about being selfish, but selfless. If God has blessed you with so much, don't get too big-headed to think that you can't help nobody. Always lend a helping hand, even when it may feel like an inconvenience for you. Last, but certainly not least, embrace humility, or God will humble you. Meaning, don't get too big-headed. Don't think that you at a point where can't nobody touch you. Don't think that you're invincible. Just know God will always find ways to humble you. And it might bring you down to your knees where you didn't think you could make it. But at the end of the day, where you're most vulnerable is when God will attack. It could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. So always stay humble. Now, after we went through all these techniques of certain things that I use, first and foremost, I would like to thank you for checking out my video. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Also, hit that notification bell and select all so you will not miss a video once again. But before we close, always remember this phrase. We cannot control the hand that was dealt for us, but we can move with a purpose. It's your boy, Smooth Blaze, and I'm signing out. Peace and love.